Okay, so here we go. This is the first official live stream for Healing Crystal Civic Association. I'm quite certain that because this is our first live stream, there won't be many people here. However, my hope is that even after it's over, many will share our story and who we are and why we exist so that it can be heard or seen by the right people. So, again, my name is Crystal Valerie, Healing Crystals Civic Association founding chairwoman. Healing Crystals Civic Association started long before the death of my son. In fact, if many of you have known me for a while, Healing Crystal started off as what I once called the village. Back in 2015, God gave me a vision, almost like a warning, it felt like. And He showed me what we needed as a community, as a society, especially in Rapides Parish, a place that is the home of myself and 6 generations before me. Now, usually, before my son was killed, anytime I attempted to share this and gain support, I got hit with roadblocks at every turn, and it used to deter me. In fact, most of the time, if you know me and you're from Alexandria, you saw many times where I just up and relocated. That was, in fact, a direct result of me feeling defeated, me arguing with God about the assignment He placed on my life. I told Him it's bigger than me. I can't make them hear me. That part has to be on you. And then came December 31st, 2023. I got the worst call a parent could ever get. Not only had my son been shot, but he had been killed. January 1st, I cried out and I said, God, you're going to have to do this. I cannot do it. You see, oftentimes we like to quote the cliche that God doesn't put more on you than you can bear. I beg to differ. In fact, if that was so, and we could handle all of the many obstacles that we encounter in our lifetime, then why would we need the Most High? You see, the truth is, God does in fact put more on us than we can bear. And in those times, He's looking to see if we will seek Him, if we will turn to darkness, if we will fall and fail, give up, be defeated, or if we will cry out to Him for help. So January 2nd comes, and I lose my grandmother, one of my closest friends, my elder, my history book. And I say again, I need you to tell me what to do, God, because I cannot do this by myself. God told me to sit still, that my son's name would bring change. And I've held on to it. That has been what has kept me going on days where the pain was just much too much to bear. And so the village turned into healing crystals because I experienced what many before me and many since me have had to endure. and that's a journey for justice, especially here in Rapides Parish. Although my son's case, was resolved within 277 days, it would seem as if everything went right, but that's just not the truth. In fact, God allowed certain obstacles to be placed in my journey. I believe it was so that I could see the opportunities, what needed to be changed. And so I took that and I made it the heart of Healing Crystals. It would be very easy for me as a mother to say, I got justice for my son, and then walk away and just work on my healing. But that's just not how my heart works. In fact, as I was enduring what I was enduring, I was saying, my Lord, is this what people have to go through? So instead of me walking away, feeling victorious and saying, hey, that's on them. Cardell was my only son. So it could have been easy for me to say, my son is gone now. I don't have to worry about anybody else's child. Mine is gone. But that's just, again, not how my heart works. And so I took those old visions from the village, pulled them out of my files from 2015. And I used that to update the vision. So Healing Crystal Civic Association will be a 501c4. Many people say, well, what's the difference between a 501c4 and a 501c3? I'm here to tell you what that is. You see, a 501c4 is a social welfare organization. And unlike 501c3s, 501c4s can lobby for legislation. Ideal for what we need in Louisiana. But my target market is Rapides Parish, because this is where I call home. And so within Healing Crystal Civic Association, we have 6 initiatives. We have an initiative for youth mentorship. We have an initiative for adult mentorship. We have an educational initiative. We have an initiative that is called I Loyal You Coalition. We have an initiative to police and secure our own communities. I didn't take this task lightly. In fact, I paid for certain programs so that I can dive deeper into understanding just what needed to be done and how it could be done. And since then, for all of 2025, I have carefully and intentionally worked behind the scenes, countless hours. I made it my job to ensure that I was building the foundation for something great, that it would actually be sustainable for generations to come. It is my belief that the works of Healing Crystal Civic Association may start in my lifetime, but the effects will be felt in my granddaughter's lifetime. What's going on in our communities did not start yesterday. It didn't even start in my generation. These things have taken place today because of methods put in place generations ago. I know that this is bigger than me. In fact, as a mother, as a grieving mother, oftentimes I'm stopped, I'm paralyzed in grief. I even still feel defeated sometimes. The difference between Healing Crystal Civic Association and the village as I've now paid in blood, so I cannot stop. I must stay steadfast and obedient. This week begins my week of a press run. I will be interviewing with many local news media. I'm looking to interview with many radio personnel. Right now, what I'm asking for is funding. Funding to establish this organization. That includes state and federal filing, trademark. That includes pay for staff, volunteer incentives. It includes the website, of which I've already obtained the domain for. It's healingcrystalcivicassociation.org. I would like to be able to conduct focus groups. I would love to have the people hear these things that I plan on doing within this organization. I want to hear your feedback because, Sinlaw, this is for you. My favorite initiative, well, I love them all, but I think my top two is Future Roots Learning Center. Future Roots Learning Center is our educational initiative. It's answering the complaints of people that I know and love, people that I do not know but have heard your cries. We have to educate our children. How many times have we complained about public school systems, how our children are treated, what our children are learning, what they're not learning? How many times have we as adults sat back and thought about, man, I spent all that time in school, but I learned the most afterwards. So many things we needed to know that the Department of Education just did not teach us. So Future Roots Learning Academies or learning centers will be within the communities. We plan on acquiring all of those maybe dilapidated properties that are for sale. We even don't mind being donated centers. So what this does is it takes students from first grade to 12th grade, and it puts them in smaller learning environments. I ensured that our curriculum was Department of Education certified. So believe me, your child can and will graduate with an accredited high school diploma. Also, your child will learn agriculture. Your child will learn genealogy, because it is my belief that you can't know where you're going unless you know where you come from. And we all complain about how the system hid this. And, hey, we've got many complaints when it comes to that. This addresses that. There will be a lot of community involvement. In fact, learning agriculture is science. So within the communities that Future Roots Learning Centers will be in, the work will be done within those communities. This also addresses our educators who have a passion for teaching. However, we know Rapides Parish School Board system. These teachers struggle, asking for more help, asking for better funding. They need smaller classrooms so that they're actually able to teach the children. They're also dealing with the restraints of the Department of Education, telling them what they can and cannot teach. Well, this will not be so at Future Roots Learning Center. My second favorite initiative is Guardians of the Block, the People's Police. This initiative will be district for district. Whomever decides that this is their calling within their district, I, with Healing Crystal Civic Association, will assist them in starting their own private security firm. They will work hand in hand with the councilman from that district as well as Alexandria Police Department. They will employ citizens that live within that district. They will go through training to become official law enforcement officers. We have to patrol our own community. Again, this is answering a problem. We complain, rightfully so, about how the police that police in our communities, they don't know us. They don't know the difference between a mental health call and a criminal call. But we do. We know who lives in our community. We know how to deal with them. So I think police in our communities should be up to us. Because let's face it, this isn't just a systemic issue that got us where we are. It's also an us issue. Over my lifespan, I've seen, especially being from the Sonia Quarters, and I'm from the old Sonia Quarters, the Sonia Quarters of the 80s. I can recall my uncle and his friends and other people in the Sonia Quarters policing our own communities. Certain things just did not go. We need to get back to that. We need to get back to saying, not in this neighborhood. We have become so accepting of the it ain't my business that now look where we are. You see, the truth is, your neighbor is your business. The truth is, it takes everyone within a community to either be the destruction of the community or the reason the community thrives. That's up to us. So if you're interested in being a teacher, you're interested in being the people's police, this is for you. Comment more info, and I'll make sure that I get that information to you. Here's the thing. With the 501c4, another difference between 501c3 and C4 is in a C3, your donations are tax deductible. The organization must keep an account of who all donates. That's not the case with a C4. You see, the donations are not tax deductible, nor are we required to report who's donating. You see, I'm a realist. So in my head, this means even the drug dealers have an opportunity to change their image. How would you like to be known as a community donor instead of a community drug dealer? We need you to. If you are interested in being a part of the founding donor list of Healing Crystal Civic Association, there are some benefits. We plan to launch April of 2026, which is National Crime Victims Awareness Week. If you're local, then you know during that week in April, Miss Stephanie Bellegarde plans a walk every year. Here's the thing. That week lasts from that Monday until that Friday. And one walk, to me, I don't see the benefit thereof. And so during that week, we will plan on having 5 events for all 5 days. And if you are a business, whether it's a small business or a well-established business, you will be featured. You will be promoted. In fact, our top donors will even have VIP access to every event. The other donors will choose which event that week they would like to be in attendance for. During that week, we will have 5 different programs, events, and days where we do things that actually make sense, that actually can educate our community. We're not looking for protests. We're not looking for complaints. We're looking to actually make change. This is something that I learned how to do last year in my fight for justice for my son. And a lot of people often tell me, well, Crystal, he's convicted now. Let it go. You got your justice. Any parent who's had a child taken knows that justice does not come with just a conviction. Healing does not come because the killer is convicted. There is still a lot of work to do. An example, in our current legislation, the victims' rights are just criminal codes of procedures or revised statutes. One of the biggest things that we are advocating for is to make victims' rights equal to the rights of the offender. That doesn't take away from the offender's rights, which are their constitutional rights. It makes the victim's rights equal. It ensures that during that process, our district attorneys, our judges, they are required, instead of at their discretion, to ensure that your voice is heard throughout that entire process. That is one of the most important constitutional changes or events of advocacy that we plan to do with Healing Crystal Civic Association. The I Loyal You Coalition. That one was born because if you knew my son, you knew that my son did not tell his friends and associates, I love you. He said, I loyal you. Now, he oftentimes said that to KO's friends, the friends that he, associates that he accumulated in his brokenness and his young male time of that limbo between an adult and a child. So those of us who knew and loved Cardell and fought really, really hard for him to be the great man that God created him to be, when we hear I loyal you, we get irritated because we know that the people he was loyal to were in fact not loyal to him. So I wanted to change how we felt when we hear I loyal you. And that's the birth of the coalition. Now, what that coalition does is it takes people in the community who would like to do productive things but don't have the means. We provide those means for them. As a 501c4, we actually become the donors for situations such. It means creating a coalition of businesses and organizations that work together hand in hand to help each other grow. Of course, this means sustainability economically for our communities. This puts our impact in our hands. Nobody from the outside is coming to save us. We will not continue to depend on a government who wasn't created for us to come and care enough to help us. They won't. They not coming. Our adult mentorship program allows for the adults to also learn their genealogy and where they come from, to learn financial literacy, to learn, we want to empower them. That's the goal of that. We want them to understand that most of us are operating in unhealed trauma. That in fact, the ones that raised us and came before us has simply been tricked into thinking that when you are depressed or have experienced the horrific trauma, that all you need to do is pray. I'm a God-fearing woman who's here to tell you that prayer without works is dead. They were simply told everything backwards, and that was intentionally by design. But hey, I'm not here to talk about what the government did, all the tricks that were played. Healing Crystal Civic Association is simply an answer to all of that. Our youth mentorship program and the way that it is written, we want most of our mentors to be veterans or military personnel. We want to teach these children conflict resolution. And I mean, hey, let's be honest, most adults don't know it either. We always ask, what's wrong with these children? But a simple look at your social media will show that most adults have no idea how to maturely resolve conflict. These kids are watching us. The Youth Mentorship Program also addresses something that I often hear and I always rebut it. We need to tell the kids to put the guns down. Have you ever been a young person who learned how to operate a gun? That's simply just not going to work. We have to deal in reality, not emotion. And so these veterans and mentors will actually teach children gun safety, hand-to-hand combat. They will teach them how to fish, how to hunt. They will teach them that their neighbor, no matter what the conflict, is not their enemy. We will help them to understand the value in life, their life. Again, I believe that teaching genealogy and where your bloodline comes from will help that. It will instill pride of self, something that many of our children and even adults are lacking. Don't you want your children to know these things? How often do you yourself wonder these things? For all of our lives and our foreparents' lives, we've relied on the government to tell us who we are. We went from indigenous to Negro to colored to niggers to now we're African American. They put these genealogy tests in play, collect your DNA to tell you that you're from this continent, that continent. But how do we know that? I know for a fact that the only way to know that is to trace records, your family's records. And so we also plan on partnering with these departments in Louisiana who are responsible for keeping our records. We want to give grants to each child so that they can look up their own direct bloodline. In Future Roots Learning Academies, a part of our curriculum, especially for graduating seniors, we plan on partnering with local banks and financial institutions to assist in what we like to call a financial literacy course. We want to prepare these children for life whenever they graduate and are thrust out there into this world. Upon completion of that financial literacy course, we would like for these banking institutions to provide them with CDs, just to start them off. It may be a minimum, $250, $300, whatever the institution's minimum requirement is for a CD. Think about what that does to a graduating senior. It is our plan for growth within these centers to even go back to vocational schools. However, upon the funding of When it starts, we want students who have had children. Do y'all remember Aiken Optional? I am a product of Aiken Optional. I was blessed to be able to correct what was wrong when I became a teenage mom. I was able to take my daughter to school with me and still get my education. We don't have that anymore, and it's needed. So while these children are in these learning academies, we will have a house or building really close to them where they can actually have childcare during these times. And that's not just for the students, that's for the educators as well. So as you can see, this also answers a problem we have with unemployment rates. These programs and initiatives also address finding employment, employment that cares, employment that pays a livable wage. We would like to partner with local dealerships to see if they would like to donate or lease us vans so that we can provide transportation to and from. How many people would love to do things and attend things in Cenla that have meaning, but they just don't have the means of transportation? This also addresses that. Now, quite sure you say, how do you plan on doing all of that if you need funding just to become established? I get it, but I also got an answer. Once established as a 501c4, we will then be able to go to those in power with real money, and we will be able to obtain the funds to fund these things. We're only asking for the community's help in actually funding the startup of this organization. Once we have our established organization, that puts us in a lane to receive these huge donations from other people. I've done the homework. I can't be the executive director because, like I said, I'm still a mother healing. And sometimes that means I just got to come out of this office. I just got to put it down. And oftentimes I'm just sitting in the living room and I'm just stuck. You see, everybody has a job. One band, one sound does not mean one instrument. Everybody's position is important. So I've also done the research on who would be the ideal executive director. I found them. They would like $50,000 annually, which is actually not even what Louisiana says they are worth, but they're willing to take that to start. We are looking also for active board members. This could be people who understand finances. This could be community liaisons. This could be people who understand mental health. If you're interested in learning more about what we're looking for, again, just comment more info and I'll ensure to get that to you. We will operate in transparency, total transparency. So there's not a fund, a dollar that I'm requesting that I will not publicly show where it goes to. This is also the reason why the place that you can donate these funds has nothing to do with me. Healing Crystal Civic Association has its own bank account with Capital One Banking, so you are more than welcome to Zelle. We have a PayPal, we have a Cash App, all under the name of Healing Crystal Civic Association. Too often, even our local government is not transparent about where our money goes. Try asking them, see what you get. We got plans for those too. In campaigns such as Change the Charter and Cenla's Unsolved, we'll be looking to request changes when it comes to Alexandria City Council to the homeroom charter that rules our city. We want the Housing Authority Oversight Committee to be held accountable. We want mandates put in place. We want protocols put in place. Because just because someone needs affordable housing does not mean that it should be a given that they're not living in a safe community. That's just crazy work. It doesn't matter where you live. You deserve to live in a safe community. And if there has been created and someone is being paid to oversee that, we need to hold their feet to the fire and ensure that that's exactly what they're doing. Another campaign of Healing Crystal Civic Association when it comes to advocacy and policy change. Y'all, we require Alexandria Police Department to have a cold case division. How many families have family members that have been murdered and it has been 10, 20 years and they still don't have an answer? That's because the only cold case division we have in Rapides Parish is with the sheriff's office. The problem with that is most of the unsolved crimes are with Alexandria Police Department. Well, guess what? We're not blind to the fact that we're also short police officers. We're not blind to the fact that our forensics is outdated. This is another thing that we would like to partner with local educational institutions such as Cenla Community College, Northwestern State University, LC, Louisiana Christian College. We would like to request that they broaden their forensic science department. Then it is our goal that our newly founded and developed cold case unit interns with these college students who are going for forensic science. This addresses the funds. Doesn't that help? We have so many initiatives and campaigns centered around the prize of our residents of Rapides Parish. I can't wait to show them to y'all. But again, we need to be established. I do have all documentation in place for raising donations for a 501c4 that is still in established stage. It's actually a resolution. This is the binder, okay? This is the binder. You see how thick this is? This is me in this office as a newly wife, a newlywed. This is me as a new homestead. This is me, one woman, one face, and many hats, who has not given up on our community. If we want to see change, and again, it may not be in our lifetime, but how many of us have grandchildren? Is this the world you want them to live in? If it's like this now and nothing gets done, imagine the world your grandchild will live in. That worries me. Does it worry you? Then we always have these organizations, right, like the Justice Bus, that are senators and congressmen and all of that. You know, hey, but they don't really have a dog in the fight, so the passion behind these initiatives is just not there. Let's be honest. Most of them are just a bullet point that they can add to their repertoire. Elections are coming up. Our politicians are getting ready to tell us what we should want. They're getting ready to tell us what we should be upset about. Now, let's be honest. How often have what these politicians told us we should be concerned about? How often do they actually address the things that we battle with every day? A lot of times people say that we are living how we are living because we either don't vote or vote the wrong candidate. I'm here to tell you, and Dr. Claude Anderson will back me on this. Unless you understand politics, your vote is simply mental masturbation. That's another thing we plan on doing with our mentorship program and with Future Roots Learning Center. You have to look at your, for lack of better words, opponent. You see, unless this politician is funded by you, it doesn't matter how well you know them, what they said during their campaign. Once they're in office, they are run by lobbyists. They are run by the people who finance them. Lobbyists, big corporations, whether you know it or not, they are who make up the governing laws. That's why I position Healing Crystal Civic Association as a 501c4 so that we, the people, can actually lobby for the legislation that we need to get the things done that we need done. I've also had someone say, hey, are you sure that's what you want to do? You know, Trump is going after the nonprofit organization. I'm positive this is what I want to do. Trump is going after 501c3. If you actually just do a quick Google search and see who, what are 501c4s, I guarantee you'll see that they're not going to attack that. That's the HOAs. Those are all these big organizations. They're not getting rid of them. You see, after my son's murderous conviction, I took the time to educate myself, just as I did in my journey for justice. So I've learned the rule book, which is what we have to do. If you don't know the rule book, then how can you get in the game? A lot of times I'm asked, how you got them people to get your son's case so fast? I had a binder just like that one called Cordell's Afterlife Affair. And just as I've spent all year researching and educating myself on how to accomplish the vision that God gave me, that's exactly what I did last year in my journey for justice. I never went in there operating or speaking to them out of emotion. I went in there with the law. I studied legislation as it pertains to my son's case. I printed it out. I highlighted it. When I showed up to the district attorney's office, I showed up with that binder. And I would tell them, now I know you say this is how you're going to do this, but I want you to do it the way legislation says you should. It's not how you feel, it's what you know. So Healing Crystal Civic Association is here to educate you guys on the possibilities, on what can be. Our current climate has everybody worried about if the government will release funding to feed us. Another initiative that we have, a program that we have, is Healing Through the Harvest Homestead. Well, right here on my own property, I would love to have anyone in the community that's interested in learning how to or contributing their knowledge to come out. Let's teach people how to sustain in a healthy way. Because let's just be honest, The food in the grocery stores, they have more cancer causing agents than the Newports I really need to quit. We have to stop wanting people outside of our communities to care more about us than we do ourselves. Our safety, our security, our physical health, our mental health, our children, that's on us. It's how it was when I was growing up. That's what's changed. It truly takes a village. And either you are part of the problem or you're a part of the solution. So we're not only asking for funds, we're asking for any like-kind donation. If you would like to donate printing materials for marketing, we need you. If you would like to donate your venues to host these focus groups, because in order for us to go to the city council or the Baton Rouge and have them to hear us, they are going to need to see that the people say, this is what we want. So at these focus groups, we will absolutely have our staff and volunteers ensuring that everyone who voices their opinion are registered to vote, because this is what they care about. If you're not registered to vote, then your opinion to them does not matter. So we do plan on making sure that those in attendance are registered, and if they are not, we will be able to register them on the spot. If you would like to interview me or to simply have a meeting so that we can go into more detail about my plans for Healing Crystal Civic Association, please feel free to instant message me, call me. Healing Crystal Civic Association's phone number is 318-487-3989. Or you can email me at healingcrystalscivic@gmail.com. Now, this time, I'll answer any questions you need, any questions you may have. I am streaming from Healing Crystal Civic Association Facebook page, as well as Healing Crystal Civic Association YouTube channel. We have both. If you are a parent who has lost a child or a family member, if you are a family who has the loss of a loved one that has been a cold case and you're not getting any justice and you want your voice to be heard, we will feature you on our YouTube channel, because this too matters when we go to demand change. They need to see. They need to see that this is more than just case numbers. They need to see that this is more than just black troublemakers who are eliminating each other. They need to see that we are human, that we matter. Our voices, our traumas, they matter. Just like the next person. Because even if you're unemployed, let's just tell the truth. Anytime you spend a dime, you're taxed 7 times on it. So you are a tax-paying citizen. Our tax dollars pay the wages of senators and congressmen who are supposed to be working for us. It matters. If you have any knowledge of nonprofit organizations, 501c4s, how they run, how they operate, please reach out. I need help. Just as I had told God, I cannot fulfill my assignment, the vision you placed on me, by myself alone. In fact, I'm very aware of how most people in St. look at me. Let's just be honest. Back in my youth, I was a part of the problem. And even though that was so long ago, Some people can't. They can't forget. I'm not upset with them. I'm not going to try to convince them. This is why I don't want to be the face. In fact, as founding chairwoman, I don't stand to gain financially at all from this. That's not my business. I am paid and rewarded if the loss of my son can save yours. If telling what I've endured can help another parent who feels hopeless, helpless, defeated in their quest for journey, in their journey for justice, in their journey of healing. If my story and my son's story could inspire somebody, save somebody's life, that's all the reward I need. See, it is my hope, it is my belief that since God continues to put this assignment on my life, I'm more than certain that there are the right people who have also been assigned by God for this type of work. I'm looking for it. I'm putting myself out there in a way that I'm just not comfortable putting myself out here. But I'm doing so because I need to get this to the right people. Everybody's job is up there. Urban Cass says he looks forward to speaking with me. I look forward to speaking with you. If you work in media and broadcast, please reach out to me. Tomorrow officially starts my press run, and I'm gonna run. I'm gonna run until I get a full board of directors. I'm gonna run until I actually have the funding to file as a 501c4 organization. I'm gonna run until I have the funding to begin that website. Again, the domain I've already purchased. HealingCrystals.civic.org. This is why I'm live. This is why I'm here. I need you. Our community needs you. No matter how big or how small. If you would like to sponsor by way of being, providing food for some of these events, these focus groups, I need you. If you're a church home, I need you. I need you to tell your congregation about the works that God has placed on my life that Healing Crystals Civic Association will accomplish in Rapides Parish. God is within me. I cannot fail. But when you have an assignment as huge as this, can you imagine the obstacles the devil will throw in my way? Countless times I've said, you know what, this week, I won't be contacting people online or on the phone. This week, I'll be showing up to people's offices. I'll be showing up to this place and that place. And I go outside and I get ready to start my car. And guess what? It won't start. This is what I faced all year. Most of you remember, I attempted to have a community meeting. I called it Frontline, right? The meeting was to be held at the VFW in the beginning of the year. Well, the day of the meeting, I found out they had an asbestos problem they were fixing, and we couldn't have the meeting. Now, before my son was tragically taken, this would have resulted in me feeling defeated again. I would have quit. But as I've said many, many times before, I have now paid with the blood of my only son. So there is nothing short of a bullet in my head that will stop me this time. While the goal is to be established by April for National Crime Victims Awareness Week, even if it isn't, that won't stop me. I will not stop because I have children that are still living. I have a 6-year-old granddaughter. And I know that we don't want our children and our grandchildren to have to move away from a place that we love and call home because things aren't right. Things aren't right because we won't fight to make them right. And it's so often that because we are passionate and we want change, we react. We react with protests without having demand. We react by calling out leadership, right? Government. But do we actually know what laws and mandates and policies that they're adhering to? Because we don't understand the rule book, oftentimes our cries, our screams, and our actions, they don't yield results. You see, it's not my assignment to be on the forefront of this. It is not my assignment to oversee the day-to-day operation. My assignment is what I said it was. I was given the vision. My assignment was to do the homework, to create a realistic, functional plan. I've done that. I'm doing that. I'll never stop doing it. But where are those of you who have felt the calling tugging at your soul? And maybe you just don't know how to help. This is it. We have very, very strong men in our communities who are actually on the front line, women too. People such as Coach Dupart, aka the Difference Maker. I met Coach Dupart on Alexandria Little League's T-ball field. Something that we all used to go to as children. Remember? Now, we know that the funds for Parks and Recreation were taken away from the south side of Alexandria and they were relocated to the west side of Alexandria. And hey, you can't unscramble no egg. But we know the effects and the impact that this has on our children. We know that because there is no YWCA, YMCA, or Boys and Girls Club, Alexandria Little League, AAA football, we know that this leaves our children to be impressionable children that, listening to NBA young boys and this, that, and the third. And we try to blame everybody but ourselves. A lot of you say, well, I'm doing what I'm supposed to by my child. Guess what? I did everything right. I made sure that my son was active in sports. I made sure that my son understood what respect was for authority. I made sure that my son was great in academics as well as athletics. I made sure that my son knew the difference between right and wrong. And he knew that mama had consequences when he did wrong. I did not uphold him in any of his wrongdoing. I took friends of his who may not have had the pleasure of having that type of structure in their own home, and I gave it to them in mine. You see, I didn't just throw children away. If you know me, then you know that my fight, my community works, did not start when my son was killed. I'm not one of them. The difference between what I used to do and what I am doing is now I have no choice. I cannot stop. I cannot simply pack up and move away where I know economically, financially, mentally, I'll be better off. I got to fight for this place called home. I have very old newspaper articles showing where my grandmother, along with Mr. Allen, so many others that have gone before us, they will put me in that work. Okay. Now I'm a grandmother. I don't want that to stop with my grandmother. I actually want to continue her legacy, not just of being responsible for her household, but for her community as well. You see, it's in me, it's not on me. Is it in you? And I'm going to go ahead and end this. I've been here an hour. I think I've gotten my point across. So again, I'm asking before I leave, are there any questions? What do you want to know? No? Yeah? Maybe so. It's 2:00 now, Central Standard Time. I'll allow questions. I'll actually wait until I'll give it 5 minutes. I'll give it 5 minutes. And then I'll end it. Yeah. It's very painful. But this is my driving force. This is what keeps me going. Because the way depression works, or those demons will tell you that your living children don't need you. Those demons will tell you that whatever you're trying to do ain't going to work. Those demons will have you sitting still crying or just completely detaching from the world, shutting everybody out. But God. But God. They will not win. They will not prevail. Again, God is within me. I cannot feel it. So I need help. I do. I need help. If you have any know-how, Crystal, try this. That's a donation. That's a donation that I value. I need you. I need you. The community needs you. Your children need you. This is why we're starting with the children in kindergarten and first grade. Because, hey, let's just tell the truth. Some of these youngsters, you just won't be able to reach right now. I pray the same prayer for them as I prayed for my son. Lord, put a shield of protection around them until they can see. Please, Lord, don't let them hurt anybody's child, and don't let nobody's child hurt them. I pray for all the children because I can remember being in my early 20s. I mean, tell the truth, shame the devil. At that point, you're scientifically retarded. But we got to start with these children that are coming up that haven't been affected by this ugly outside world. We've lost almost an entire generation. Do you want to keep it that way? No, can't do that. Strength and numbers. We have organizations such as the Sonia Carter Outreach Program. They have been very consistent in what they do for the community. Could you imagine how much more impactful they would be? They had the right resources. They had even more hands putting together. Do y'all remember when everything you needed was in your community? Do you remember when any little boy couldn't just rebel and go hang with the drug dealers? Do you remember that? I do. Do you remember when those who contributed to drug dealing in our community tried to tip the scale because they paid the bills of the elderly who could not pay them themselves. Because they paid even the what we call crackheads, because they're God's children too, and they have a purpose too. But they would pay them to cut the yards, carry the groceries for the old. They would buy school clothes for the children whose parents couldn't afford it or were out there bad. I remember a community where we did not throw each other away. I remember a community, and I'm talking about the Sonia Quarters, a place where most people think is the worst of the worst of Alexandria. But I remember the old Sonia Quarters, where them men didn't play there. They literally policed their own community. Can you imagine getting paid for that? Could you imagine? Could you imagine being your community's police? You don't have to imagine it. Bill and Crystal Civic Association, we've done that. We've put in the work for that to be real. So, no questions? I'm going to end it with this last thing. Start hashtagging. Hashtag HCCA. Get us out there. I'll be doing more content from this page versus my personal page because I'm behind. The time is now. Which way are you going to go? Hey, my YouTube family. I have ended the Facebook Live. I thank you so much for being in attendance. We will be posting the link on donations. Will I be Yes. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. So what I think I need to do is to actually give an account to why I'm asking for the funds that I'm asking for, right? Because a lot of people don't want to just donate blindly. So I think that what I will do, as I am sitting here now, because you know me, then you know, baby, I'll walk away from this right now and I'll end up in the back trying to plant more mustard greens, okay? So while I am sitting here now, I will go ahead over to our friend Canva and I will do an itemized list of what I need and how much it'll cost. I will publish that before I get up from this computer today. That is my promise. Now, Sister Blended, Sister Alicia, I'm not good at creating promos. I'm not. I suck at that. I wish I was like Alicia now and knew how to work AI. You know, that's just, hey, everything. I'm not supposed to know how to do everything. That's what a team is for. What I can say is that once I have this organization founded, then and only then will I be able to help with things. I don't ignore you because I don't want to help. I can't help you because until I actually have this organization established, I can't focus on anything else. My brain won't even allow me to. This is my grandchild from my son. Absolutely, I welcome your help. I absolutely welcome your help. I have not asked for the help because I understand that you need me to help you. And I can't right now. So how can I, in good conscience, ask for your help when I can't help you with what you need done right now? I'm just fair-hearted. I'm gonna end this because this isn't Madam O's YouTube channel. It is the Healing Crystals channel. So I'm gonna end this. If you all give me a call. Give me a call.